What's up, everybody? Thralls of Metal here, bringing you yet another album review. I'm Jammin' John.
I'm Shred Lord.
Bryn.
Necrotic Nick.
Today, we are reviewing the newest album from the band Soen, with their album Imperial. Nick, talk more about this album.
So this also came out on the 29th of January on Silver Lining Music. This band formed in 2004, but didn't officially come out as a band until 2010. This is their fifth album and features current and former members of Opeth and Willow Tree, namely Martin Lopez, awesome drummer in Opeth.
He was awesome in Saved by the Bell.
He still
Wrong
works out a lot
Lopez.
too.
Wrong Lopez.
Wow.
Now, this band has also had a lot of players kind of come and go. Steve DiGiorgio used to play on there, which is, famous for Death, Sadist, Testament, and wherever else he plays. Generally, you get great bass work. And I have to say, this band has drawn a lot of comparisons to both Opeth and Tool over the years. And, I mean, if you're familiar with any of Soen's albums, you get why.
Good bands to draw inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, they do. They're very open about it. And this is a bit of a change. A little bit of a change, I would say. This is still recognizable as Soen, at least from the last album or last two, but there's definitely been some changes in terms of the overall sound, I guess.
It's a little more rocky.
I won't say rocky. I'll say this. It's a lot more commercial.
Yes.
In a sense. This album is filled with nothing but vocal hooks.
Radio rock hooks.
Type vocal
Yeah.
hooks. All over this album. Everywhere.
I mean, right away, Luminarian opening track. It kind of has like that 90s alt metal feel. Like it definitely still has like that Tool sound, but you also have stuff that I would say even kind of comparable to Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle, but
Or
definitely
Disturbed.
Yes,
I can't knock it once.
but definitely more technical. And what I would say is, in terms of like their more up-tempo songs, which you get a lot of those in there that have this very straightforward kind of 4/4 time stomp. There is what I would call metal accents. Like these songs are flat out rock songs, but you hear like these double bass flurries or like a big triplet chug or a breakdown that screams more metal than, say, the bulk of the song. Which,
Some of the riffs are decent, but they're peppered in too sparingly.
It's again a transition album. Like you kind of really get that sense that they wanted to appeal to a broader audience on this, and they always had hooks, but they were more like prog hooks. And in terms of their song structure, it kind of like the peaks and valleys thing, like it was written in movements. These are more straight ahead.
I picture a dude in an open collared shirt with glorious long hair standing in front of a fan. However, this singer is bald.
The overall theme of this album to me seemed to focus on the vocals and the hook. That seemed to be the general idea that they were trying to drive across for this album. Was they were putting the hook up on a silver platter and they were serving the main course all over the album. There were times where you get sprinkled in heavy riffs, Meshuggah-y, Opeth-y type heavy riffs, but they never lasted long enough for me, and I wish they would have lasted a little bit longer. The guitar player is a very versatile guitar player. He can kind of jump from style to style. He also, a lot of these leads had that very Pink Floyd-y, David Gilmour-ish vibe to it, which sounded really, really, really nice.
Very emotive.
Very emotive,
Sexy.
for sure.
Yeah.
Super
sexy.
Very
Sexy.
sexy.
Super. My pants literally came off while we were talking about it
That
because
didn't
of how
happen.
sexy it is.
Didn't happen.
I'm not wearing pants.
What?
That did happen.
Like in the song Illusion, kind of reminded me of the beginning of the scene in Dusk Till Dawn when they're in the bar at night, where it's kind of got that little, because it starts off with like this very like sexy bass guitar kind of
Keys and vocals.
Salma Hayek.
groove. It's got a little bit of a groove to it, but it's also got a little twang in it too, I noticed.
Well, it is baby making music.
It is.
But pull out, fellas. We don't need any more people on the
No.
planet right now.
John's already worried he missed his period.
I bought him the morning after pill.
Okay,
be fine.
that's good of you.
Has
All
to
right.
be a
Good
morning
looking out.
after.
A lot of this, I would agree, like it's kind of echoing Shred's point. It does feel like it's built around the vocals. And like listening to their older albums, I went back and listened to Lotus and Lakia. I can't remember how to pronounce that.
Lycanthropy.
Yep. With Chris Barnes. But it feels different. Like listening to those albums, like not only does the song structure different, but again how it's produced. The vocals are very out front in this mix, and this mix is very polished. Like this is probably the most overproduced album I'd say they have yet. It just screams like they wanted everything kind of out front and bigger. Their string sections.
The drums sound triggered to the nines.
Yeah, the drums. This is the least Martin Lopez sounding drums I think I've heard from him yet. Like it doesn't have his like token sound. Like he always kind of screamed like a more organic drummer, and this is more straightforward, like kind of 4/4 time in the pocket. You know, big anthemic stomps. A lot of it kind of reminded me of like a more technical Morgan Rose from Seven Dust, which isn't a bad thing. That dude's a solid pocket drummer. But again, I think I had like prog on the mind. I expected something more progressive, and this, it has proggy moments, but again, it's more of a rock album.
The song Monarch is very sing-songy. It sounds like they wrote it specifically for a crowd of 50,000 at Wacken to sing it just as the sun sets.
Yep. And the lighters come out.
Oh yeah.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, did anybody else hear in that song where it sounded like he said, "Go with Christ"? Like a bunch.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not really sure.
he's Swedish. Maybe he's saying something else in a different accent, but it kind of sounded like that.
Swedish.
Most of this is very overtly positive, I would say.
Very positive.
I mean,
Jamie Josta is going to be busting down the door.
It might be.
really, what do you think he would say, Ren?
Everything's gonna be okay as long as you put your mind to it and you can accomplish your goals and maybe start up that small business you and your buddy are always thinking about. And if you get a small government loan with a little low interest, you might be able to achieve your goals and maybe rent out the place next to the crochet store.
Except he's singing it.
Except he's singing it,
Yeah.
yeah. It's more uplifting and
It was like, like a big, like a big vocal hug.
like an angel singing.
You know, Jimmy's more like
Hugging.
the big, like firm pat on the back.
This guy is sexy time down by the fire.
Yes. Now, an issue I had with this album was in terms of like the more upbeat songs, they kind of run together. And the main issue was when it came down to like the choruses and the hooks, a lot of them felt like interchangeable. Like you could swap out the big hook and say a song like Antagonist and then throw it in the song Luminarian or Dissonant. It would kind of fit regardless. They're sort of like interchangeable parts. And that was kind of an issue because when it came down to like Soen's writing before this, it felt more distinct from song to song. Like they definitely have a token sound and a style, but they kind of put themselves in a box a little bit, and before the box was much bigger.
I will say the song Dissident, they played a little bit more with rhythms. It wasn't just 4/4. They did kind of shuffle around a little bit. It's a longer song too. I think this is the 7-minute track.
I don't know. Actually, I think this is still like 5 minutes. That was the thing I noticed too. Like when you're going back and looking at the older albums, the songs on this are shorter. So again, they kind of condensed a little bit. So they can fit on the radio. If people still listen to the radio, I don't know.
In regards to the chorus, you were saying that they could be interchangeable. I also feel like while they were incredibly melodic, not every hook was very captivating at times either. Almost like they did it. They used the hook so much that I think it wore away the appeal of it.
It made it kind of drag, which is crazy because this record isn't that long.
Yeah, it really isn't. It's honestly their shortest offering, I think. But I mean, when you get greeted to like the same kind of hook, like it's all like the big anthemic, powerful chorus, like you kind of want to break it up a little bit. In prog, again, you want to shift around styles, but also moods.
We need more of those heavier riffs, or not more necessarily, but like more than 15 seconds of it.
Honestly, it wasn't until like songs like Modesty and the last track Fortune where I think they kind of stepped outside of that a little bit. Modesty, actually, the intro to that kind of reminded me of like Depeche Mode and maybe like Perfect Circle, which, I mean, again, Maynard.
I put Depeche-Atonia.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I got Catatonia vibes too. But I thought that one was at least a little bit refreshing. I liked that it kind of sounded a little bit darker, but it was weird because when the anthemic chorus came in on that, I was like, this one just kind of deserves the more like kind of sullen chorus. Like, don't tell me everything's okay. Remind me that the world is shit occasionally. I'm negative.
I just kept thinking, where's my lighter? Like, I feel like I need to put up my lighter and go like this.
When really all I want is to be kicked in the dick, spit in the mouth, and told I'm a dirty boy.
I'll save something for the encore.
And Fortune, I actually thought was kind of doomy. Like, it actually had some kind of, like, doom-laden riffs on there. And it was just, again, kind of refreshing to hear something different because a good chunk of this is kind of in cruise control, which isn't bad. I mean, once you find that gear and you're blending in with traffic, you're not getting pulled over for getting too rowdy.
I thought the song Fortune sounded like the band that plays at Billy Madison's 3rd grade graduation.
Oh, what a glorious day!
Graduated the 3rd grade.
Yeah, so overall, I'm going to give this 3 stars. I think it's good. It's just kind of bland. And maybe it's expectations. You know, I really love Lotus. Lotus was actually a year-ender for me. And I don't know, I just feel like they kind of trimmed the fat too much and they cut off some meat. You know, whether it was accidental or intentional. It seems like it's intentional. It seems like they're kind of going for a different fan base, like a different bracket. But there isn't enough here to really alienate their old fan base. I still think this is still well executed. It's just less proggy. I could have done without the overproduction. It sounds just a bit much, a little too sterile. But, I mean, they know how to write a hook. They know how to write a groovy, you know, catchy, kind of heavy rock song. Kind of borders on metal. But, I mean, overall, this is a decent album. I would like to hear them go back to their proggier stuff. But, I mean, who knows? This may blow up and become their biggest seller. And this may be where they are now.
I'm going to give it a 2.5. I like this band. I've liked this band for a while. Again, yeah, Lotus I think was end of year material for me too. Nothing really stood out in this case. It's not bad, but I'm not even so certain it's something I would actually jam again, to be honest. There's a couple things I might pull out of here. This would be another like record to play in the background if you're having people over that don't like heavier music, and you can be like, well, this is close enough.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like for this album. I'm not saying it's horrible, but it's not the greatest thing in the world by any means. So, 2.5.
I guess I'll go with a 3. I was not familiar with this band until Lotus. I do like their other stuff more than this. A little too overproduced. Maybe a little too geared towards a radio or a masser appeal. And I don't fault them for that because they're Europeans. North American people are the only ones that can sell out.
Fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make some sweet love to a few of the tunes. That might be fun. By yourself, with other people. Several people. Bring them all in, put the song on repeat.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Don't kiss them. Yeah, check it out. Or don't. It's up to you.
All right. I will say that this is not an album for me particularly. I will say that it was decently produced, albeit overproduced. The musicianship was good. There were aspects that I enjoyed. There were aspects that I didn't enjoy. For me, I think this all comes down to personal taste. Along with Jam and John here, probably not something that I'm going to be listening to again. But if I'm judging it based on its content, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 as well. Nothing wrong with it per se, just definitely not my cup of tea, and I could have used a lot more of the heavier, proggier type riffs in there to break up
The monotony.
The choruses and such.
Yep.
Auf Wiedersehen. It brings us to the end. So, if you like what you saw here, please hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate all the love and support. Also, feel free to hit the bell so you get notified of every time we release awesome content, which we do on the daily. And please, please, please do not forget that we are doing an amazing giveaway once we have reached 4,500 subscribers, which for all of our subscribers already, thank you so much for your undying love and support. Without you, we would have no reason to fiddle with our piddles and do this for you. So you're the real hero. You're the real MVP. And yeah, we have an awesome giveaway to do, loaded with some CDs, a vinyl, the whole kit and caboodle, baby. So yeah, it's going to be badass. And once again, thank you for all the support and the continued support. So from everyone here at Thralls of Metal, we are signing the out because my asshole itches and I probably have to shit. So, later.